Second Crusade. Part 2. King Louis VII, Eleanor, and their rich pals arrived in Antioch in March of 1148, and the real war was about to begin. Eleanor's uncle, Raymond of Poitiers, was the Prince of Antioch, and he wanted Louis to loan him what was left of his troops to help him attack the Syrian stronghold of Aleppo.
Welcome to Antioch. Since you are the king, I got you Burger King.
Louis didn't want to lose any more of his decimated troops, so he refused to help Raymond and said he just wanted to visit Jerusalem to fulfill his vow, do some sightseeing, and go back home. Raymond was infuriated, so he began telling Eleanor that Louis was a wimp and she should divorce him. There was also a rumor that Raymond and Eleanor were having an affair.
Well, Louis is kind of boring, and he farts a lot.
Stay with me, baby, and I'll make you feel like a real queen. Hey, Eleanor! Do you want to play Millbone? Hey! What's it, fuck?
As the remaining French Crusaders began arriving at Antioch, rumors of Eleanor's incestuous affair with Raymond swirled around the city. Louis didn't want his men to think of him as a wimpy cuckold, so he had Eleanor arrested and shackled up in chains, and told Raymond to go fuck himself, as they left Antioch and began the long march down to Jerusalem.
Do not be so sad, Eleanor. I could have beheaded you. Oui?
You took away my credit cards. You may as well kill me too.
It was April of 1148 when King Conrad III, who was feeling much better, thanks, finally made it to Jerusalem with just a handful of German Crusaders. Then around the same time, Bishop Otto and like 6 other German survivors stumbled into the city, followed by a few hundred of those tough, limey Crusaders that conquered Lisbon and wanted more action.
Who let the limeys in?
Hey, be respectful, huh? And at least it ain't the Irish, yeah?
King Louis VII, Eleanor, and the remaining French Crusaders showed up in Jerusalem in early May. But Louis was totally distraught by the fact that this crusade was destroying his marriage to his beloved Eleanor. So he mostly stayed in his room and cried a lot, and wasn't of much use to anyone.
Come on, Louis. You're in Scarborough, you say get it gold.
The Crusaders that arrived planned to do some praying, some sightseeing, and other touristy stuff while in Jerusalem, then return home with their vows fulfilled. But the King of Jerusalem, Baldwin III, and the other Holy Land muckety-mucks had much different plans and wanted them to stay and help fight the infidels to further expand the Latins' realm.
What a rip-off. It's cheaper to get it on eBay, yeah?
I promised the Kinder I would get them souvenirs. The locals needed to figure out what to do with all these Crusaders hanging around in Jerusalem. So in June of 1148, King Baldwin III assembled all of Jerusalem's royalty, all the military orders, and all the top Crusader leaders together at the Council of Palmyra, one of the most lavish and over-the-top gala events in the history of Latin Jerusalem.
Are you even real knights, or are you just here for the free beer?
There's Vol! Go Colts! Yeah! It was during this gala that Jerusalem's bigwigs forced their own agenda upon the Crusaders and goaded them into participating in their decision to attack Damascus instead of trying to retake Edessa, convincing them that Edessa was just a backwater shithole of a county that was full of Holy Land hillbillies and wasn't worth the walk.
Hey, who wants some Edessa style filet mignon?
The ruler of Damascus, Enur, New King Baldwin III had his coveting eyes on the city, so when he heard rumor of the Latins amassing for battle, he made preparations to endure a long siege, and made an alliance with his former enemy, Zengid ruler Nur al-Din, to join forces and fight them.
That should to be enough toilet paper to get through the siege.
Are you for to be sure? I'll make shits like 3 times a day.
A massive force of 50,000 Latins and Crusaders arrived outside of Damascus on July 23rd and decided to attack the mighty city from the west because there were orchards to hide out in and provide them with a substantial food supply. But what they didn't realize was that the western side of the city was the most heavily fortified.
Why you keep lifting your dress up, Agatha?
It keeps the fruit flies off the fruit!
The Christians ferociously attacked the walls of the city, but were pushed back into the orchards by the Syrian defenders after each attack. To make matters worse, the Syrians would dress up like fruits and sneak into the orchards, using the lush vegetation as cover, and attack the Latins while they slept.
Shh! Someone for to be coming. Quick, act like the fruit.
Things were not looking good for the Christians, so the Latin leaders ordered the whole operation to move to the east side, because that part of the city was supposedly much less fortified and more vulnerable to attack. The bad news was that moving from west to east would totally cut off their food supply and leave them out in the open.
Shit! The infidels is here too! See what I tell you? The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
As the Crusaders began moving out, Nur al-Din arrived on the scene with shitloads of angry Seljuk Turk soldiers, who immediately began showering the Latins with endless volleys of arrows, and successfully cut them off from being able to return to their safer position on the western side.
I can't believe you missed from that close. Man, you are the worst.
I was for to be eating potato chips. My fingers is for to be crazy.
Just 5 days after arriving, all the Crusader troops that weren't killed yet gathered in front of the leaders and adamantly demanded that they end the siege right now and go back home, because this shit sucked. Fearing for their own lives, the kings had no choice but to agree with the soldiers' demands and end the siege of Damascus.
Oh, for Pete's sake. I'm the only one that wants to keep up this siege.
The dejected, beaten down Crusaders now had to do the slow walk of shame all the way back to Jerusalem with their tails between their legs. And to add insult to injury, Turkish archers followed them from behind the whole way, using them for target practice and calling them bad names.
Ha! Your mother is for to being so dumb. She throw a rock at sky and miss.
Your mother is for to being so dumb. She thinks the filter system is viable.
The Crusaders were still hanging around in Jerusalem in 1149, desperate to achieve some sort of Christian victory. They decided that they would attack the city of Ashkelon, but after the dismal failure at Damascus, no one really trusted anyone any longer, and the plan just kinda fizzled out.
Come on, you can trust me. That day is full and all that, man.
No, you can't. I'm not falling for you bullshit anymore. I want to go home.
King Conrad III was gung-ho to capture something, so his crusade wouldn't be a total failure. So he and his remaining German knights headed over to Ashkelon. The German force was way too small to attempt a siege, so when no one else showed up, Conrad was like, fuck this, and he went back to Constantinople to schmooze with Emperor Manuel I.
Fuck this place. Let's go home and get some sauber.
Man, follow the rock would always make me fall.
King Louis VII stayed in Jerusalem until April 1149, but he was a useless, blubbering mess over his failing marriage. When he finally left the Holy Land, he made a point of putting Eleanor on a separate ship that was full of drunk, smelly peasants, while he and his pals sailed back home aboard a luxury yacht.
Ho ho ho! Bon voyage! I hope you enjoy the boatland with the smelly peasant people!
Mon Dieu, it smells like feet and hot garbage in here.
And lo, with the departure of King Louis VII from the Holy Land, the Second Crusade came to an inglorious end. History would look back upon this crusade as a big, stinky pile of crap that pretty much accomplished nothing much at all, except the early demise of thousands of Crusaders.
I'm not dead. I just resting my eyes.
The Second Crusade was indeed a pointless shitshow. Edessa was still in the hands of the Turks. The Latin states in the Holy Land lost way too many soldiers and were thus weakened militarily. The Latins hated the Greeks more than ever, and that cocky infidel prick, Nur al-Din, gained a rep as a cold-blooded Crusader killer and increased his Q rating.
Oh my God! It's him!
Oh my God!
I love you, Nuri!
Oh my God!
As the news of the Second Crusade's failure started to spread throughout Europe, Bernard of Clairvaux was so embarrassed by the debacle, he wrote a long letter to Pope Eugene III, exonerating himself from the fiasco, and pinning the blame for the Crusade's failure on the sinful and shameful ways of the dumb Crusaders themselves. Bernard tried to redeem himself for the epic failure of the Second Crusade and get his street cred back by calling for a new crusade to the Holy Land. But even the stupidest peasant was like, "Another crusade after that last shit show? What are you, retarded?" So Bernard disassociated himself from the whole affair and started a false rumor that it was actually his twin brother that called for the last crusade.
Another crusade? Here's what we think of your dumb crusades. Get 'em, girls!
Hey, I just doing my job here. Go and blame the power.
Ow! Hit the holy man, not me!
A lot of people believe the Second Crusade was doomed from the very start because of the conniving Byzantines. Some say that Emperor Manuel I distrusted the Latins and truly believed they were coming to take Constantinople itself. There were even rumors of the emperor colluding with the Turks to help them wipe the Crusaders out.
I give you one solid dish for every Frank you kill. So deal or no deal? The boss said throw in the back of the euros and you got a deal.
Even King Louis VII, upon returning to France, proclaimed Emperor Manuel I and the Greeks to be a bunch of no-good, dirty backstabbers. Needless to say, relations between the French and the Byzantines were soured for centuries after the unmitigated fiasco known as the Second Crusade.
Hey, what do you call a Greek guy with a foot fetish?
And it call him Platon! What do you call a French pancake that's haunted?
I don't know, but it would sure give me the crabs.
As a matter of fact, the Second Crusade sucked so bad that even the dopey-ass peasants that believed anything they were told began questioning the absolute authority of the Catholic Church, and it effectively killed that whole crusading spirit all throughout Western Europe for like about 40 years or so.
Man, this sucks ass. I miss the good old days of going on crusade and killing people for fun. Yeah, before you know it, it'll be the Renaissance and we'll be writing poetry and playing harpsichords. Yeah.
And now that the dust has settled, let's take a look at the big board of death and get ESPN's Mel Kiper Jr.'s take on the debacle known as the Second Crusade. Death estimates are based on the historical fact that most people of that era were savage lunatics blinded by religious furor that thoroughly enjoyed killing people just for fun. What a strange crusade to try to grade. And yet, I like a bunch of these picks, except for Emperor Emmanuel I in round 2. And I didn't even have him as the best emperor available. I had big expectations from King Conrad, so I'm a fan of his potential. But the reality says different. King Louis VII had lots of upside. I thought he would be a great leader like Godfrey or Bowman. But he bailed way too early to make an impact as a rookie special teamer. What else could be said about this sad excuse of a crusade? Nothing, because it sucked. Big time. The end.